All right. Well, welcome tonight. We're going to continue talking about ways to have less suffering in our life. So, I wanted to start off with a little sort of game. You know, I like games. And this game involves me basically guessing what each one of you really wants in life. Because that's a big part of our lives. I think it's the main focus of everything in our life is, what do we want? And I'm gonna jokingly say I'm a little psychic tonight because I know exactly what each one of you wants. All right? It's the same answer for all of you, though. And that answer is you want what you don't have. Simple.
Makes sense.
All right? And that sounds so almost ridiculous to say, you know, I want what I don't have. But there's a lesson in this that I think is fundamental to what causes us to suffer. And I think that we look at that situation of not feeling like we have what we want and realizing that there are things that we need, but we look at it in the wrong way. Normally we focus on trying to figure out how to get what we want, because we think that if we get what we want, that desire will go away. And so we continually look at our lives and say, what don't I have that I want, and how do I get it? So we focus on the getting instead of realizing that the real problem lies in the wanting. Because there's no end to wanting, there's no end to desire for things. So if we continually just keep resetting our desire meter to something else, and we keep going after the things we don't have, we'll do that for the rest of our lives. And we'll never be satisfied, because when we get what we want, what normally happens? First of all, we don't want it anymore because we have it. But secondarily, it loses all the appeal that it had when it was something we didn't have. And now that we have it, we kind of don't care about it anymore. So we turn and look back and say, well, what else don't I have? What else do I want? And so we keep doing this over and over without realizing that if we were to focus on what it is that drives us to want other things, that we might be able to stop that cycle of dissatisfaction. Because the things just keep getting bigger and different. You know, I want a better job, I want a better spouse, I want a better house, I want a better car. Well, you get those things and they lose their allure almost. Not immediately, not all of them, but eventually they all become commonplace, and they no longer fill that need to desire something. And this is what, in the Buddhist teachings, the Four Noble Truths, this is exactly what he was trying to talk about, was that the Four Noble Truths are that there is suffering in the world, or really the translation of the Pali word is dukkha, and dukkha means dissatisfaction. So there's dissatisfaction in everyone's, that is life, it's dissatisfaction. And then the second noble truth is that there are causes for that dissatisfaction. And this is what I'm talking about. This is one of the primary causes of dissatisfaction, is the continuing, insatiable, repetitious desire of what we don't have. And again, I just want to repeat this because it's really important to realize the difference. Most everyone in this world focuses on what better ways can I invent or think of that will get me what I want. So we focus all of our attention on getting better at fixing the want instead of looking at the root cause, which is the desire itself, that insatiable desire, and say, what can I do about not needing to desire anything anymore, or less? Because, I mean, of course, we all want goals and we all have ambitions and we all have things that make our lives more enjoyable. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with filling our lives with the things that make life enjoyable. But if we constantly are pushing ourselves for those things that are, in some cases, maybe almost unobtainable. I mean, a lot of us, on the spiritual side of things, we spend our time wanting to be awake or wanting to be enlightened. And so we drive ourselves crazy trying to figure out a new practice or a new way that will get us to that place where we'll be enlightened, thinking that once we're enlightened, that all desire will disappear. Well, it does, but in a funny way, because it isn't the desire that disappears, it's the person who has the desire disappears. So it's like there's no one left to feel that anymore, because desire is kind of an energy in the world. It's a lot like a lot of other things. It's something that, when played with too much, can lead us into trouble. And without realizing, again, having desires, having goals, all those things, there's nothing wrong with that. But if we continue to put our focus on the things that we don't have, then we're never satisfied with what we do have. And if we focus as much attention on enjoying what we have in the moment, instead of focusing on flaming the desire part to want something else, it's like you look around and say, well, what else don't I have? What else is there? What would make me happy? Let's see, I'll look at all the things in my life and, well, I don't really like this, and this would be better if I had that, and boy, I'd rather have someone else in my life than that person, because, there's things about that person I don't particularly like. And we start trying to change all those things. It's like going down the rabbit hole. It's just a matter of what are we going to focus on. If we become aware of and become mindful of the fact that we do desire all these things, then the desire doesn't run away with us. We don't lose control in that wanting without even realizing that that's exactly what we're doing. I think most people, they focus on the fact they don't have something instead of focusing on the emotion of the desiring. And so if you focus on sort of the end product, you can never really affect the beginning of the process. As soon as you realize that you desire something, then you can temper that with common sense and a lot of other things, that wisdom, insight, that'll allow you to play with that desire without being taken over by it. Because some people, when they get something in their head, they just plow through everything in front of them. Doesn't matter who they step on, who they hurt. It's because all they're focusing on is what do I need? And people get hurt that way, and it's not it's all around us. Look at so many different examples of that in the world we live in. Is that everybody's just simply focused on what is it that I need to make myself happy? What is it that I don't have that I can add to my life that's going to stop this constant feeling of not enough? It's just this, like, it eats at us. It's just like, we literally, I think subconsciously at least, and completely consciously in people that are not quite, let's just say they're not as balanced as other people, but this idea that if I don't continually strive for something, then I have no purpose. The striving is the purpose. And I don't believe that's true. I believe that striving can be an enjoyable thing that we play with and that we use to improve our lives and others. But when we simply focus on this, when we give ourselves over to that idea that nothing will make us happy unless we have this thing, whatever that is at the moment, the rest of life just sort of disappears. We become single-minded, we become fixated, I guess, on this idea that I can't possibly be happy unless I have that thing, whatever that is. Instead of sitting back and saying, what is it that's causing me to feel this way? And looking at the sort of the roots of desire. And the roots of desire are, I think, fundamental to life. I think it's a core need